Two guys with sunglasses on.
Today I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed. Don't feel like picking up my phone, so leave a message at the tone. 'Cause today I swear I'm not doing anything.
Gentle loving hugs, and thanks for tuning in to the Fibro Friends radio show here on healthinforadio.com, part of the Entertainment Global Media Network, broadcasting out of heavenly Clearwater, Florida. If you feel like doing nothing at all today, then just sit back or lie down. We're here to educate you with a full spectrum of information on fibro, advocate on the behalf of all fibro friends for fibro awareness and the need for more research, and support each other with laughter and love. New to fibro? Wonder what it is? Fibromyalgia is a complex chronic disorder involving a malfunction in how the brain processes pain, which leads to other multiple dysfunctions in the body. Some of the main symptoms of fibro are pain and fatigue, sleep disorder, memory and concentration, depression, digestive disorders, hypersensitivity. So today, you've tuned into Fibro Friends. So please welcome your host, Laura Rosa.
Hi, I'm Laura Rosa, and my co-host today, Jessie Whitewolf. Say hello, Jessie.
Hello.
And we are your Fibro Friends for this evening. So our topic tonight is going to be juvenile fibromyalgia. Everything you wanted to know and were afraid to ask. So that's our theme, and if you'd like to join in and make a phone call and talk to us, call us at 727-493-2055. 727-493-2055. So Jessie, how's your week been?
Well, it's been one of those up and down weeks, but not really too terribly bad.
You didn't get the fibro from hell fog and be in bed? Were you functioning?
No, what I found out is that I just simply cannot bend over without support, and when I do, that's it for the day.
Got it. Yeah, sometimes we try and go outside of our rule of thumb of what we need to stay in, and we pay for it sometimes.
Well, and it's amazing. I mean, when I opened my kitchen cabinet, I think to get out the things to prepare my cereal.
Okay.
My oatmeal, the brown sugar and cinnamon and all the goodies that go with it.
Bad food.
Yes, I know.
Just the brown sugar.
Well, that's right. You're the health. Well,
no, I'm not. I'm just learning like you are.
Well, no, health is a good thing.
Actually, next week we're going to have somebody here to talk about food that we should stay away from. But anyway,
That's right.
I interrupted you.
No, it was an important thing. I mean, I came out with the fact that I'm not exactly health conscious.
Live perfectly by the law of fibromyalgia rules. I haven't met the person who has yet.
I live by the rule of save yourself if you can, but if you feel as tired of the whole situation sometimes as I do, enjoy your life however you can. So both those things work, I think, for different people, and we're different people.
That's correct, and I think that's excellent advice.
But what I don't like is when I reach into my cabinet to get out the things for my breakfast, and I notice that there is a huge pile of plastic bags that have been shoved in there for safekeeping. For what? I don't know. But too many trips to the store. And the dog doesn't use them all. After all, she's a 7-pound Chihuahua.
Do you want me to share a little tip I do? I take a paper towel roll when it's empty. You can get like 30 or 40 of those little bags in there.
You know what? That's a really good idea. I keep thinking I need to buy one of those things that you put, or have my friend make one of the cloth.
you know,
ridiculous
toilet
looking.
paper roll will even work for this if you just
That's
want.
incredible.
But that's
and
what I
you
do.
could even attach it to the wall.
You can paint it, or you can leave
Sure.
it brown. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, you laminate it in plastic.
Yeah, you can make it fun, but it's free if you use paper towels.
Well, you know, we do learn to improvise.
Yes.
But the thing I haven't learned to improvise for yet is, okay, I have all these bags, so I pull them out and I sort them into different sizes.
Okay.
And I go and put them in my hall closet.
Okay.
And I go back to get the things out for my breakfast, and I decide I'm really too tired. My back hurts awfully bad, and I better go sit down.
Because you expended your energy
It's
doing the bags?
10 o'clock in the morning.
I'm still sleeping.
And well, no. I mean, I woke up early, so I've been up for about 4 hours.
Oh,
But,
okay. You're an early
you know,
riser.
various things I was going to do, nothing too strenuous, just things that really needed to be done, you know, like
Yes.
paying the bills and, you know, stuff like that, email business.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing too hard, but important. And here it is, 10 o'clock in the morning, my back hurts, I'm exhausted, so I take some pain pills, and a little while later I need a nap. And before you know it, I'm laying there watching TV at 8 p.m. after I woke up, and you know, munching on something like Cheetos or cheese dip with breadsticks.
No effort,
and
right.
that's been my day. So I've had 2 of those this week, but the other, yeah, 2 out of 7 is not bad.
I think that's a good track
You know, that's a
record.
good track record.
And some days we need that rest.
But that's the kind of thing we have to learn to live with when we have fibro. And our loved ones need to learn to live with, and sometimes that's difficult.
Yep.
But when a child has fibro, now that's something you know about. Your daughter, who's turning 16 today.
It's her birthday today. Her name is Savannah.
Happy
and
birthday,
she's
Savannah.
So beautiful. She's inside and out. Unfortunately, she's not available to be with us on the show. And I can talk a little bit about my experience with my daughter. She was at birth, really, we didn't know until she started walking, but she was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, which for most people out there don't realize, JRA, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, is a different animal from RA, rheumatoid arthritis, that adults get. They're actually recently just changed the terminology to JIS, juvenile idiopathic arthritis. So we found an amazing rheumatologist, pediatric rheumatologist at All Children's Hospital. He's the head of the department, and I will plug Dr. Robert Nickerson. Yes, if your child has any rheumatoid issues or fibromyalgia, he's the king, in my opinion, because who we were seeing before we found him, she wasn't thriving. I'm talking like age 3, 4, 5, and I had it. I knew there was more that could be done for her. So I flew up to Baltimore and went to Johns Hopkins to meet with the head of the pediatric rheumatology department there. And he was very helpful in giving me direction and what to look for and finding a better doctor for her. So that's when we ran into Dr. Nickerson. And within 3 months, my daughter was on a cheerleading squad. From not being able to walk, from not being able to get over 39 pounds. She just had these big bulging knees and this tiny little frame, and it was so sad. And once he got her on the right medication and the right monitoring, she blossomed. And sometimes at school they would have to pull her in the wagon, but she found her passion in cheerleading. So, and she couldn't run the 2 laps around the field like all the other girls were to do, but She could do the moves, the jumps, and, so she spent several years doing that. But it was quite a while later. It was actually, she was diagnosed on Fibromyalgia Awareness Day. For those of you that don't have a block, 12 each year. And we had to happen to have an appointment with a rheumatologist. And I talked to him about some other symptoms she'd been having. And so he did his routine physical, and he said she has fibromyalgia. And then she went into a flare. Basically, the short story is she missed a full year of school. She's having to, now that they've got her monitored and stabilized with both of the disorders, she is in school. She's, had to have her medication changed. But what I have learned through that, somewhat of a nightmare for her especially, is us mothers who have fibromyalgia. There is a higher risk that your child may develop fibromyalgia, and nobody wants to hear that. Children have a different, their signs and symptoms are a little bit different than for adults. The first thing a child, and let me just say that fibromyalgia can hit anybody at any age. So it just happened to be that she was just, she was, I guess 14, and but she'd had it, I would say, for at least a year. The first symptom is leg pain. And I remember as a child, like around middle school age, having leg pain, and I was told it's growing pains. And first of all, I don't understand growing pains. I mean, I get that the body and the bones don't grow at the same pace. I mean, that sounds like a reasonable explanation, but no. Honestly, I don't think anyone should ever have leg pain. The body, that's the way I was explained growing pains. But I think they're misdiagnosing. If there's pain, there's something going on behind it. Do you agree?
Yes, I do. But there are a number of conditions that can occur that can cause leg pain.
Absolutely.
So it's always important to have a thorough examination by a competent physician to find out what the underlying cause is.
Exactly. So we're going to talk a little bit more detail about it, but you just want to put people on, be more aware of your child. They will say and come up with things just to stay home from school, but if you know your child well enough, you know the difference between real serious pain and I just feel lazy today pain,
Well, I think one important indicator may be when they are reluctant to do things or refuse to do things that they normally enjoy, like going out with their friends or special occasions at school that they ordinarily would be excited about attending. They just don't feel up to it.
Right, almost, and they pass it off as a parent as they're just not interested. And TMJ disorder is very common. That's TMJ stands for, I don't think I can say it. Okay, it's a jaw disorder.
A temporal mandibular joint
disorder.
disorder.
So I want to say, I've got TMJ.
It means you're off your hinges up in here.
Exactly. We're talking the jaw, not up here, a little lower. So she's sitting there popping her jaw, and I'm like, don't do that. that's going to make it worse. And there got to a point where she could only eat soft foods. But she got migraines, headaches, severe headaches, migraines, I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard of an association.
Then, the depression. Now, that's very easy to blend that in with teens and adolescents, and everything's so dramatic when you're that age, and hormones are changing. But it was significantly changed. Her attitude was just, I don't care, and that was really hard to get through to her.
And a lot of times they say that depression is one of the symptoms of fibromyalgia as an emotional disorder in and of itself. But my feeling is that even with people that have had prior depressions, and even if there's an element of that involved, over and above that, and regardless of it, there's a depression from finding that you're so different from how you ever expected yourself to be.
Of course.
And that you're helpless to change it, and you literally, you see the pieces of your life drifting away. Not your physical life itself, but the things that they give meaning and that allow you to feel that you can trust your own body to get you through life. So there's a depression that comes from that, no matter what else is
whether
going
you were
on.
predisposed to depression or not.
Right.
That was excellent.
And for an adolescent, my goodness, when they feel invincible because they haven't reached a developmental stage, their brain isn't mature enough to comprehend that they could be anything but strong and healthy and vibrant and have a full future in front of themselves.
Right.
We're made that way.
Correct.
And here you have this happening to her.
Well, she's always felt different because of the JRAIA, or whichever. And she's always requested she doesn't like her friends to know. So she's learned to hide her pain from the rheumatoid arthritis. Because she gets the same morning stiffness like we do, and but different from fibromyalgia, her knees will literally swell and turn red, her elbows, her hands. Sometimes the joints get distorted and there'll be a shift. You'll see it in older people. So it's when you have an adolescent who's growing, it's critical. Now, we're kind of getting off of fibro, but to get them treatment so they can develop appropriately. And there's a lot of crossover between symptoms of, juvenile idiopathic arthritis and fibromyalgia. So it's easy to miss it with someone who's already dealing with an autoimmune disorder, which is the juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. And the juvenile fibromyalgia is not being labeled an autoimmune disorder at this point, but as we know, research keeps changing on us, and it's actually a syndrome. I've learned this weekend, why actually fibromyalgia is not an illness, it's a syndrome, meaning it has a group of symptoms that they can attach to a name, but they don't understand the underlying cause. Like when AIDS came out, it was a syndrome.
Well,
that's off the subject, but people don't know whether
it isn't. Let me just make a if I may, a couple of corrections.
Thank you.
Okay, a syndrome simply refers to a complex of symptoms, a group of symptoms that go together, right. And so they give it a name. This particular disease,
right?
And that stays with it. we all know about a lot of like Alzheimer's syndrome and Parkinson's syndrome, and every disease that has a group of symptoms that goes together, not just one thing.
Like breast
called a
cancer
syndrome.
is one thing.
Right. Breast cancer is not a syndrome. It's just a disease in and of itself.
Right.
But so many other things are, and they are beginning to think of fibromyalgia that way. The other thing is the term idiopathic. The only thing idiopathic means is we don't know what caused it. In other words, it is idiopathic.
Of unknown origin.
Of unknown origin. But we do know that this is what we can call it, in this case juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, because it contains the symptoms that add up to the syndrome. Well
said. I hope we didn't get you guys lost on us both here. Yes,
go ahead.
But that was much more clear. I found some really good research, on juvenile fibromyalgia. How common is juvenile fibromyalgia? And basically, what I found out is there's not really a lot of studies going on right now because of the underfunding. But they found that between 2 to 6% of school-aged children have the symptoms of fibromyalgia. And they say widespread muscular skeletal pain in pediatric rheumatology clinics. Juvenile fibromyalgia is a relatively common problem presented and forms about 8% or more of the new referrals in this particular hospital. So it says, do girls outnumber boys? And it seems like it's following the same protocol, that yes, girls, 85% of the patients are girls versus 15% being boys, but boys are still just as, have the same potential, it's just not as high as it is for our daughters. Let's see, how would somebody treat juvenile fibromyalgia was another question asked. And basically, it's kind of the way we work. It takes a team, depending on the group of symptoms that a child displays, then you go to that particular specialist to help to relieve the symptoms, or at least, keep it under control. So the message tonight really is to just bring the awareness that it does happen, it is out there, and I think there's a lot of kids out there suffering who, with the right medical attention, could get out of the suffering phase with treatment. Anything you want to share here that caught your eye?
Well, I think it's very, very interesting.
Yes.
And I'm so glad to be learning these things because
I had no clue for
Well,
having it for 8 years and having 4 kids.
Right. I was, as a pediatric nurse for, at least 20 years of active practice, I never knew of a case of pediatric fibromyalgia, but then again, this was before we knew that adults had it.
Do you think if you look back that you could see the potential there was, children that came through?
I can see the potential. I worked in a hospital. And I think it is very appropriate to talk about fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis together, and even osteoarthritis, because these things tend to occur together, along with chronic fatigue, very, very, very frequently.
That's true.
It's important to distinguish them so we can better define and approach each one of them, but we also need to recognize that they could be a collective syndrome.
Correct.
that shows up in different people in different ways. For instance, I have osteoarthritis, but not rheumatoid. And for other people, it's quite the opposite, such as Savannah. But I do recall an incident in the early 70s. We had a little girl in the hospital that was 6 years old, and that had hugely swollen knees, and was in a great deal of pain and distress. And no one quite knew exactly what was wrong.
Okay.
So she was in the hospital for an evaluation. And I won't name the hospital because it was a wonderful place. It was a children's hospital in a major city. And I certainly urge anyone with a child who has a problem that is not easily understood or diagnosed to take their child to a children's hospital or a university hospital for evaluation if you're able to, because they will get the latest and greatest of everything. But this particular child lived with her mother and a woman that she referred to as an aunt.
Okay.
Who it turned out later was not an aunt, but a close a person in the mother and child's life. We're not certain of the role, but it may possibly have been a lesbian couple. But the devotion that she showed to that little girl, Mom worked, and Aunt, whatever her name was always there. And I was so proud of our hospital staff for treating them the same way we treated every family.
That is wonderful.
And I ask you too, when you're talking about your treatment group, if you have a child in the hospital, the role of the nurse is absolutely crucial. That's a person who is your guardian angel and your guide,
Yeah.
who communicates the information to you from the doctor and to your child, and helps you learn and teach and accept and live with the illness and understand it. You just don't know how much that means both to him or her and hopefully to you and your child.
You're absolutely correct. Savannah was in the hospital twice, and she got so attached to her nurses. They were such awesome caregivers. I think anyone who can work in the pediatric department and healthcare really has to be a person with a big heart to be that supportive to any child dealing with whatever difficulties they're going through.
Well, it's such a blessing for people to share themselves so fully as
That's
when they're hurt and suffering and afraid.
And that's usually the case for any child who's hospitalized.
Or when they're coming into or leaving this world.
Yeah, it is. It takes a very strong support network from the medical providers to families.
Yes.
I also read the best thing that you can do for a child who is recently diagnosed is to stay positive, try to keep them in a normal routine lifestyle, and also it's not uncommon for children who develop this disorder to outgrow it, unlike adults where so far once we have it, it seems to stick with us. But many children or adolescents can outgrow the fibromyalgia and lead a normal, healthy life. So it's not the doomsday, okay, my child's never going to get to X, Y, and Z. That's not true at all. And the earlier you get treatment, the better her chances of recovering from it go up. So to me, I found to be very optimistic. So it just can be a phase for a couple of years, and then their body clicks in and starts functioning properly, and off they go with their lives. So I was really happy to see that was an outcome.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to hear that.
We can come back to that if anybody wants to call in and add any information. But there's a couple things I definitely want to get to. One of them was, last time Jesse was on the show, we were talking about that there are now tests that can definitively diagnose fibromyalgia. And so Jesse asked, what are those tests?
Yeah.
And I said, I really have no clue right now. I read it, but I'll have to go home and get my research and talk to my group. And actually I found out there were 3. One way is by doing a muscle biopsy. And, excuse me, that is being studied through the Mayo Clinic. So if you want to look into how and what they learn from doing a muscle biopsy, check out Mayo Clinic's website. Also, there's a way by certain markers in the DNA, or they call them the gene expression, that shows the marker that people with fibromyalgia have that healthy people do not have. And the third way is a functional MRI. And the University of Wisconsin is the place where they're doing the study. And what a functional MRI is, for most of us knowing MRIs, you lay still, don't move, don't breathe till like 40 minutes later. But they have you actually moving in certain directions as they do the MRI. And through that technique, they are able to diagnose it as you are or you do not have fibromyalgia. So we're starting to pick up speed here in the world of research and learning about fibromyalgia. So I get more hope every day about that. Anything you want to add on that note?
Well, that's really exciting news. I'm glad to hear that. And these clinics and universities, that's one of the points of using them. There's always a chance that you might have access to a study that will help both you and your child, if that's the case, and all of us learn something about this illness, as well as settle your questions.
Good, got it. Let's see, what else do we want to do? We always like to give tip of the week. This one I found entertaining. Jesse, I don't think I gave you a copy of this.
I don't know if you did. But I do have something else I thought of that I think is important.
Do you want to share it now?
Yes, if I may, before
Absolutely.
we close. A couple of things. Well, we're taking a break.
Maybe we'll take a break.
Maybe?
You never know.
If we're given a break?
Sometimes
Okay.
we do. Sometimes they just let it roll. So, but we've
All
got
right.
plenty of time.
Well, now if I can remember what it was.
That's okay. Take your time.
A little bit of fibro fog. There were a couple of things. One was the issue of, first of all, I never finished my story about the little girl with the swollen joints.
I'm sorry.
I got sidetracked.
Okay, I
No.
thought it could have been me. Go ahead.
No, well, see, you don't remember much either. But
Thank you.
we'll just keep rolling along here.
Next.
She did have rheumatoid arthritis. So I think that's important, that this same kind of symptoms. And since it happens so often with fibro, it's important to pay attention to those things with your kids.
Yes, and they can do a blood test now.
Yeah.
Sed rate.
The C-reactive protein is
Okay.
the study they do, and I think the sed rate is also modified in rheumatoid arthritis.
Of how much the inflammation
Yes,
is active.
yes,
Right,
yes.
okay.
But the other thing was a failure to thrive. It's really important to talk about that a little bit. I think, as you said, that this happened with your child, and
Yes.
perhaps it's something that happens with other children with fibromyalgia. Do you know if the research indicates that, or have you had a chance to look into that aspect of it?
I have not gone that deep. It very
Okay.
well could be.
Well, the importance of it is that there are so many things that can cause failure to thrive.
Yeah.
Sometimes a child has trouble absorbing nutrients because of some kind of condition in the gastrointestinal tract. But many times it's an emotional issue. Many times, children that are neglected are underfed will have failure to thrive. So if you do have a child in that situation, it's really important that you are very clear about what's going on with you and with your child, so that things can be remedied and understood correctly. I know from talking with you and from what you have to say that you made every effort to take good care of your little girl, and it sounds like you loved her dearly and
I
did it all.
I do.
And that's true of many people, and consider that if you're the parent of a child with failure to thrive that has fibromyalgia, it's important that is recognized. Come prepared with your facts and talk it out with your doctors, and make sure that they don't give up and that they keep on working at it until they find out what's going on.
Yes, remember, the doctor works for you. I think we get a little intimidated sometimes. When it comes to our children, we have to be very proactive.
Well, this is true, but also understand that because failure to thrive is so often linked with emotional abuse or neglect or something more,
Yes.
that it is important for doctors and healthcare providers to be cautious when they encounter it.
Yes.
So it's a matter of working from both ends of the situation and coming to the right conclusion. And that means working together, and you have to be proactive on that front.
That makes sense. That's good. Trying to see here if there's anything else that I think is absolutely, important that we get out there. A lot of this is just common sense for the way we would do it. Other symptoms, again, poor sleep, chronic headaches, and anxiety, which all that could be chalked off to the pressures of school or busy activities. But so just always keep an eye out. I wouldn't talk to them about it, because then once you get that in their head, they start looking for it, and we don't want that ever to be the case until you get a definite diagnosis. There is something I want to switch gears here really quick. An absolutely phenomenal thing happening October 6th. And I recently found out about it. And let me make sure I can talk to you about this appropriately. There's a group out there called FAIR, F-A-I-R. And this group, let's tell you what the acronyms stand for. Basically, they're a group of people with disabilities, and they're advocates, and their support and they're huge in the Tampa Bay area. And this is the first time that I have learned of their presence. But they have an annual fair, even though their acronym is FAIR, and I just need to figure out where I wrote down the breakdown of that acronym. Here it is. Okay. It is, so where did I write it? Family, okay, let's see, do it right, okay. Family Abilities Info Rally, FAIR, okay. I don't see the word disability in there, but again, I just learned about it today. They are having their next rally, like I said, October 6th, at the People's Life Center in Tampa. That's located at 105 East Sly Avenue, which is right behind King High School. They are grown so much in these 5 years that the People's Life Center is the only place they can hold it, because they have so many vendors now on board, and it's for people of disabilities of any nature. And the sponsors that I was reading, they have over 100 sponsors, local, national. The day is free. They are going to have, you can get a free massage, there's going to be free haircuts, face painting. It's going to be a day to visit. I think there's over 100 vendors there that have something to offer people with disabilities. I think it starts at 9 on October 6th, which is a Saturday. It's just around the corner. And we are going to be setting up a booth there as well, being that we advocate and educate for fibromyalgia. We'll be there as Fibro Friends through Health Info Radio. So if you do go, please stop by and say hello. But they're going to have a DJ. It's just, you don't need any money to go there. Now, they will have a silent auction. That would be your choice. But there will be food vendors and that kind of thing. But mark your calendars for October 6th. If there's anything that you may or may think down the road you may need for you or a family member with a disability, this is going to be the place where all the resources are in one spot at the same time. Even people who are there to assist and volunteer to help people with disabilities who don't have the help they need. It's just amazing what they can offer to us. So I told her I would bring it on the show and plug it, because I wish I had gotten this information earlier so that more people would have the chance to make preparations of being there. And if you feel like you are just a very giving soul, you can go Friday night at 4 and help them set up. They can use extra volunteers for those of you who have a little extra time and maybe a bit of energy to get out and be around people. You will be welcomed with loving arms if you show up for that. And they also need volunteers for the day as well. So that's being said. That is just something that I think is making a huge impact. They're connected with Tallahassee, changing laws. They're just blew me away with everything I was learning about what they have accomplished. Anyway, that's my highlight of my day. Now, let's see. We're going to go through the tip of the week. This one, I think.
Go
ahead.
Yes,
Yes,
I just
sweet. Just kidding.
If I may, just
jump in.
Well, of course I do.
I love it. I'm just one track here.
I'm so enthused with what you're saying. I can't help it. It's like, yes. Let me say something.
Yeah, good, please.
Well, because I'm excited.
I am too.
But it just sounds like a wonderful opportunity to get out. Take your walkers, your wheelchairs, your scooters, whatever you need.
Yes.
A lot of people I know are reluctant to use those as aids. They think if I don't need it all the time, I'm not really crippled. I can't really use a scooter or a wheelchair if I'm only, quote, only hurting so much I can't enjoy what I'm doing and I can barely walk. Okay? And that's depriving yourself of what these things were made for. They were made to help their aids, their assistance devices. So please make use of them rather than to deprive yourself of attending because it hurts too much to go.
They also, when you come, they give you a free ticket. You might be able to purchase more, but they're going to have drawings giving away a lot of prizes. She was talking about one is actually like one of those high-end deluxe four-wheelers, that you walk with, and $200 worth of accessories to put on it. They're not that all the gifts are for people with disabilities, but that's just the kind of things that are being donated for
sure
the drawings.
If you think of it, that you're fighting an illness, so here's a chance to choose your weapons.
Yes, well said. I want to make sure we get to It's My Life because I promised I was going to start that, and my charts are behind me. But this kind of almost breaks down to the tip of the week, almost into a Fibro Funny. It's called The 5 Things Not to Say to Somebody Who Has Fibromyalgia. And I think most of you can relate to this. So this is for the people who love somebody or know somebody close that has fibromyalgia. You look great. You must be feeling better. And looks can be deceiving, but that's not what we want to hear. The next one is, let's get you out of the house. It'll give you a boost. Another naive way of thinking that we commonly hear, the people that want to help us. Or, are you sure you're just not depressed? Or, I know how you feel. I get tired too. That one really gripes me. Like, oh, you do? Well, I'll keep moving on. If you'd exercise more or lose weight or eat better or get back to work or what, you'll feel better. All these MD wannabe advice counselors out there. Now, what we would like to hear from you is, if you're not up to going out, we can just get together and talk, play cards, watch a movie, or let's do our grocery or Christmas shopping together. I'll pick you up, because shopping can be very taxing on us. How much are you up for today is a much better way to say, you look like you're doing better. No, I'm just faking it for a minute here, okay? How are things going? That's better than how do you feel. We don't always want to focus on our illness, but we want to be real. I'll read the last one and then I'll let you give me your 2 cents here. Can I give you a ride, help with that, etc.? Which works better than something like, do you need me to, because it shows your willingness to help without implying the person is incapable or it's a burden. It just comes across more comfortably, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So those are what we don't want to hear and what we wish we could hear. What are your thoughts on that, Jesse?
Well, I like, the things that we wish we would hear. I think all of those sound real good. And
Yes.
the last three things you said you didn't want to hear. Now, the first two, I just take differently, I suppose.
When somebody says you look,
Well, you look good today.
yeah, you must be feeling better.
Well, and then because I always say what's on my mind. I can't help it. I'm made that way.
That's good.
It has nothing to do with virtue of honesty. It's just one of those sort of sometimes inconvenient things
Gotcha.
that the truth pours forth. When I will say if I don't feel well, but I sometimes wish that I looked better and looked like I felt better. So if I really am sort of feeling better at the time, I'm glad it shows. Because I want to be able to give something that's pleasant, that makes people smile instead of always just sort of like, oh, I guess she doesn't feel good.
Right. They could just stop it at the first part. You look great today. Period. Not you must be feeling better. Sometimes we can put on our makeup and we might have just had a really good conversation. We're uplifted. That doesn't mean that we're still not in pain or what we're dealing with. So people misread that, and it's an honest mistake. Until our friends and family can truly understand the whole of what fibromyalgia is, will they then know how to speak to us in a way that's not presumptuous.
That's true, because if on the other hand, yes, if they say that and you're not feeling better, it's very difficult. You almost feel like you're letting them down if you say, well, not really. I just have had a horrible day.
It's just been rough.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you don't really want to go into that unless it happens to come up in a different kind of way. The second thing you said not to say was
number 2.
What does that say? Let's get you out of the house and give you a boost. Well, I guess to me,
good intentions.
I don't necessarily take that to mean it's going to make you all better. I take it to mean, let's see if we can do something to just make things a little bit more pleasant for you. Give you a change of pace. Getting out of the house could mean, I like riding in the car and I like driving. Those are two things I find to be comfortable. So if somebody says, let's go for a ride, provided they have the right kind of vehicle that is comfortable.
Yeah, of course.
For me.
Like not a motorcycle?
Then yes, exactly. Not or even a moped. No thanks. Skateboards, forget it.
Really?
But yes.
The roller skates?
Yes, no thank you.
Okay. I'll let you get serious again.
Okay. But, don't do that. I was having fun. Somebody always comes along to ruin it. But anyway, if they want to take me for a nice, long, quiet ride, or maybe out to see an enchanting movie of some sort.
I do enjoy going to the movies.
Yeah. So, if that's what they had in mind, great. That's about all I had to say.
All right. How much more time do we have? Do we have 5 more minutes?
No.
That should be good. We got one more topic to get through. Cool. Okay. Thank you. We get little whispers in our ears.
Okay.
Keep us on track with our time. He said no one's behind us, so we can go a little over if we want to. So I've been putting this off every week so far since I began the show, but we're going to be introducing a segment called It's My Life. And the posters have never been ready, and they're ready. Now, let me explain to those who are not familiar with what this is. And it will take a co-host to do this. Okay, I am in a place of transformation, of turning my life around and doing more of what I preach. I haven't been practicing it. I have not been exercising. I have not been eating the right foods. I have not been eating at the right times. I have not been sleeping at the right times, nor with the sleep hygiene, as they, call it. So I have decided that I am now willing and able to turn my life around. In the past 4 years, I've put on over 100 pounds, and that's really brave of me to say when this is on the World Wide Web, because I'm humiliated by it, honestly. I still see myself the old way. I was always a certain weight, a certain size for, most of my adult life in between pregnancies. And the scale keeps going up. So I've got help in a variety of areas. I quit smoking, so that's been over a month now. Thank you, Nolan.
Yes, I think it's wonderful.
And so now we're working on the weight. I feel like I've gotten the discomfort of quitting behind me so that I can focus on my weight loss. So what I'm going to do is be accountable for my weight on the air, and we have 2 charts. Now, tonight, you're not going to get a whole lot of information because we're going to start it at what I call ground zero. So I'm not really going to give you my weight, but my weight will start somewhere, let's see how high we can hold this up, somewhere like quarter way up, in case I happen to gain more weight. And then each week I'm going to come in, be weighed, and it'll be marked on this board how many pounds I lost, gained, or whatever. And it's got, how did I do this? The weeks are down here every Monday, and the pounds are up here. So my weight and measurements have already been taken for today, so we're just going to put it on at ground zero, okay? And then the second chart, that's for weighing, is, excuse me, it's on the floor. Who can bend over past here? I got it.
You have a swivel chair.
Yes, I do.
There's an advantage.
Okay, this one, there goes Jessie. This one, I'm trying to get over this monitor here. This one is my measurements. So we've got inches lost, and I'm going to do 3, chest, waist, and hips. And because I don't think we need to do measurements every week, we're just going to do them at the beginning of the month. And since we're almost there, we're going to start with October. So, and again, we're going to start at ground zero. So we'll put a dot of each color, and in the little black book, only me and my co-host will know the true numbers, but I will be held accountable. And if I gain weight, I'm going to have to, she said she's an honest gal. She's going to tell you. So now we're prepared. We have the charts ready. And actually, I'm going to start with Weight Watchers as one implement of my tools. And I'm going to start tomorrow. So I wish me luck on that. I'm ready to go, and I'm also joining Shapes, doing water aerobics for my exercise. So I'll let you know next Monday how my week went with my first day of changing my life back to the better. Are you in with me, Jessie?
In with you, how?
And keeping me accountable.
Oh.
It's only me. I'm not
I don't
requesting
know, that
anyone
might be
else.
a bit hypocritical of me, but I'll do my best.
I appreciate that. I really do. I am ready to shed this weight off and find my old body. I miss it.
Well, it's difficult.
Yep.
I was thinking today that I don't eat any more than I ever did. It's just that my ability to move is so much less than it ever was.
And it's also other issues going on. I know there's a lot of us have metabolic issues.
Well, sure, and we take medicines that have side effects, and
Yeah.
it's
gonna be a little
inevitable.
harder.
It's half a dozen of one and a dozen of the other, whatever it is.
Yes.
It's trade-offs.
It is.
But it's even harder to keep from gaining and to battle the bulge.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
So I really, really do admire the effort that you're making. And I
you.
wish you the greatest success, and I hope that there'll be a lot of people out there that will join you.
That's my goal.
Um,
Jump on board. Jump on my challenge with me. And you keep track of yours and check it with me and see how you're doing. Call in, share your tips. I'm implementing a lot of other things into my life as well. But it is baby steps for us. I know that. So I'm not going to beat myself up if, it takes me a little longer than it would somebody else. I'm going to be realistic about it. And, but keep positive attitude. And so anyone else out there has just felt like they've been stuck a while, give us a call and let us know. But there are a lot of ways to pull yourself out of a rut. And we can actually make that a topic. But you can always visit us on Facebook, which is Facebook.com/Fibro Friends Radio Show. And we have a website, fibrofriendsradioshow.com, if you want to reach us that way. And as always, call in anytime we're on the air at 727-493-2055. So, got any last words for this evening? Take home for the week?
Well, it was once again nice to visit with you, and I'm looking forward to becoming a regular. I've enjoyed the exchange.
I am too.
And I welcome to our wonderful audience.
Should we tell them about we're going to start up the fourth weekend actually,
let's wait until we get all
Okay. Get all the details done.
For those of you in the Tampa Bay area, we have a big surprise.
Yes.
We're going to
Something
do
you've been
some very
missing.
special sharing with you.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to it, so tune in next time.
Yeah, with this cliffhanger, keep you on your toes, wondering all week.
And good night.
Thanks so much for being with us. See you next time.
Today I don't feel like doing anything. I just wanna lay in my bed.